Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flat Thunder channel. My name's Andy, and this is a 2006 Ford F-250 Super Duty with a 6-liter diesel. Today we're going to perform some regularly scheduled maintenance. One, I'm going to change the engine oil. I'm not going to include that in this video, but I did do that previously. There'll be a link down in the description for that video. More specifically today, we're going to change the fuel filters on this truck. Now it comes from the factory with two separate cartridge style fuel filters, one up on the engine and one down in the frame rail. Here's the part number if you need to see it. It's a Motorcraft brand FD4616. This is a larger style filter that's down on the frame rail, and this is the smaller filter mounted up by the engine oil filter. Stick with us. I'm going to show you how to change both of those out and keep your truck in good running order. Hopefully prepare it for the winter. You don't want to get a bunch of junk in your fuel filter. I like to make sure the fuel is at least half a tank. It's actually a little bit better if it's just a little bit below. Next step, get your special bag of sockets. I always keep 36 millimeter in this truck for this particular occasion. So I always would struggle to find it when I needed to service this vehicle. In my bag of glove box goodies, I have a 36 millimeter socket with an adapter to go down to 3/8 drive. I have a smaller special short 36 millimeter socket that already has 3/8 inch drive. This was a later addition. I need this specifically for the fuel filter. I have a small ignition wrench, a hex key, and then a spare plug for the water separator drain. This hex key actually fits this drain plug. Then you can use your wrench should you need to replace the one that's on there or change it out. Let's dig in. Got the old REL mechanics creeper. Bought this probably when I was like 16 to 18. Still going strong. So we're looking underneath the truck obviously now. We're looking at the frame. We got our drain pan. Try to slide our fat butts underneath this running board step bumper. Okay, just barely fits. Oh, getting stuck. Right there is our water separator drain. This is our frame rail mounted fuel filter housing. That's what I would call it. Right here, this black plastic cap. This is where the fuel filter comes out. Now you see it's pretty tight quarters in here. And then there's the knurled brass plug that's supposedly a finger tighten unit that we replaced it with. So step one, let's loosen that up and drain out the water fuel separator. Then we'll get our socket and we'll get on this end of the fuel filter here. Oh, look at that. Now the trick to these aftermarket plugs is they're supposed to hang there and direct the fuel into your catch pan. Oh, and it's working great. You can't see it down here, but without that drain plug, it usually hits the drive shaft and rolls down the frame. I mean, we're getting a little bit of a splash out of the drain pan here, but that's working beautiful. I mean, I don't know why I didn't buy one of those years ago. That's 1,000 times better than the factory plug, man. Before, I'd be swimming in diesel fuel down here on this side because it would hit the frame rail and roll all the way down towards the back of the truck. You're looking up the frame rail, and if you reach up in between the transfer case cross member and the transmission. Actually, this is just a skid plate here. Right here, a skid plate, and then the right here is the cross member for the transmission. Right up there, that black plastic cap, that is a fuel filter we need to get out. My really long ratchet extension with my universal. Oh, come on. The light fell out. Convenient. I think I actually, instead of going through the cross member here, I think I actually come from the skid plate right where you're at and get a more straight line approach. Yeah, that's it. Whew. Here she comes. All right. So there's the inside of the water separator / filter housing. As you saw, we brought it out through here, in between the drive shaft, which is right here, and the frame rail / what I'm going to call radius rod and transmission cross member. I'm going to pop off that old O-ring. There's a whole filter clips into the lid, just like your oil filter does. This one does have a little bit of dirt on it. I think some of this dirt here on the exterior is from dragging it on the frame. But I change these every 15,000 miles as recommended per the manual. New fuel filter. Comes with new O-rings. Lube up my O-ring. Get her back on the cap. Okay. Got a new oil filter or fuel filter. Pop that into the cap. I'm gonna lubricate this internal O-ring as well. And now she's ready to go back on the vehicle. 24-inch long extension with my short 36mm Lisle brand socket on the end with a swivel here, or universal. We were able to get it out with that. That was really tight. To get the torque wrench in there, I'm pretty sure we're going to need a longer one. So I'm going to go get another 6 or 8-inch long extension strap onto the end here. It does call out the torque, if you can read that, as 25 Newton meters. So we got the old Husky Professional Micro Click balance beam, torque wrench, whatever you want to call it, set at 222 inch-pounds, which just so happens to be 20, you probably can't read that, 23.95 Newton meters plus 1.13, pretty darn close to 25 Newton meters. So 222 inch-pounds. Now we're going to try to fish it up there without getting it too dirty. Okay. What's happening? Got my Mega transmission bell housing bolt extension with a short socket. Come on, get up there. I just got a little friendly with you. Come on. There we go. I'm just using the regular ratchet here to run it in before we put the torque wrench on. And I think I'm starting to see why I need the short socket for this, because I did not buy the short socket until I started doing this more regularly. And I always did it every 15,000 miles, but that longer socket just was really difficult to get in there with the ratchet and the torque wrench, because it looks like it would run into all these lines and hoses and such. Here's just a little better angle of how I was accomplishing this. This is a skid plate for the transfer case. We have the long transmission bell housing special extension and universal coming up this way. Ow. Coming out at this angle, and that's it. She's good. Back at the water separator drain plug here. Again, this is the aftermarket unit. I'm just checking the O-ring. And then here's where things always get a little bit weird, or it's a party, depending on how you're looking at it. I got my special tub of Vaseline out for the garage, and that's way too much. But I'm going to smear most of it on the outside and lube up this O-ring. You want this O-ring to be nicely lubricated so it does not, oops, this whole thing came out. This is what she looks like. You want this O-ring to be nicely lubricated so it does not hang up in the housing. I've had that O-ring stick to the housing so hard before that it actually tore itself. It does look like we picked up a little bit of debris in the plug. I'm going to clean that off before we put it back in there. Look at that. That's awesome. If you don't have one of these, I don't know what you're doing, because that's awesome. The other one was such a pain in the butt. Power stroke. Real quick, everyone, I just wanted to interrupt the video. I have a brand new Lisle brand 36mm socket, identical to the one that's used in this video and or is going to be used in this video to change that fuel filter on the frame rail. This makes life so much easier. It took me forever to find it, but once I found it, oof, talk about a lifesaver. If you're interested in obtaining this free of charge, I will randomly select one winner. You need to drop down in the comments section, type Lisle, L-I-S-L-E. If you have any questions, I'll put all the rules in the description section at the bottom. Side note, you have to live in the continental United States just because shipping. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please continue, and or we'll see you next time. Climbing into the engine bay here. If you look just to the top of the engine, almost center, this is your oil, engine oil filter. This is your fuel filter right here. And this has a hex on it, but it also has a square drive. I always use the square 1/2 inch drive feature of this filter cap. This one here does not clip into the cap like the other larger fuel filter and the engine oil filter. You just place it in the housing like so. Well, it should go in one way. I'm going to make sure your edge is clean for your O-ring. This is not working out really good. I think I must put it in the... Yep, I made stuff up. It does clip into the housing. It's been a while since I did this. So clip your fuel filter into your housing first. My mistake. It's been a while, don't judge me too much. Got the torque wrench all set up. It's roughly 124 inch-pounds according to my conversion chart. That's it. This step is critically important. We're going to rotate the key multiple times. You're going to hear the fuel pump charge and prime the system. I'm going to do this a redundant amount of times, probably 4 or 5 times, turning the key on, letting it run until the fuel pump, the electric fuel pump, is not making noise anymore. Well, that's a wrap on this fuel filter change. Went through the process. I showed you how to change the fuel filter on the engine and the frame mounted fuel filter. Off camera, I also changed the engine oil while I was here. I usually perform both services at the same time. This just so happens to be every third oil change. We do the fuel filter change as well. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Leave all your questions and comments in that section below, and don't forget to tickle that subscribe button on your way up. Thanks for watching, everyone. I gotta get out of here, pick up these tools, and put everything away.